Do, 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 do. I won't connect.
Do y'all
All
watch
right, we
Vegas?
are live. Everybody, thank you all so much for joining us tonight here on CAG Chat. I am your host, Sherman. I am joined by my co-hosts, Donna, Derek, Levon, and Tonya. It is a pleasure to be here tonight. It's going to be a very insightful conversation. I know that we are going to get into it tonight. We'll be talking about the school board, the budget that's ballooning, and we'll also be talking about the candidates who are seeking to fill a couple of the vacancies. Well, actually, all of the seats are open, so um, we'll be talking about that tonight. So, looking forward to a healthy discussion. And who am I tossing it over to? Who's going first today?
Me.
LeBron.
All right. Well, let me
But they
introduce
won't be
you.
able to see me because I got to do the screen scroll.
Okay,
And I can't use my other, so it's
no
okay.
problem.
All right. So we
Toss
do
it
have
over
to
to
say
Levon.
that we are not legal people. We are not
What
attorneys.
legal advice you giving?
We're not giving any. I just want to make sure they understand. Don't come for us.
All right, Levon, go ahead and take it away. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sherman. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us, whether you're with us live on Facebook or you're joining us later on YouTube. We appreciate everyone checking us out. We love all the interaction during the broadcast through Facebook comments. And so keep those comments coming. Hit like, hit subscribe everywhere. We don't make any money yet, but maybe one day we will off of these programs. So tonight we're going to talk about the election, the candidates who are running for the school board seats in June. So we want to remind you that our school board seats elections are in rotation. They do not all run at the same time. So we have a few seats that are in competition. And so we encourage everyone to be informed, to do your research, to trash the senator slates, pick your own candidates, watch out for the rebel slates because they're trying to pack the seats again with their friends and maybe even family. Who knows? We don't know who related to who. Somebody got a cousin. They like the girl on Girlfriends. Everybody was her cousin. Um, but anyway, we wish everyone the best. We hope that you run clean campaigns and that you give our residents what they deserve, which is quality information. And should you win, oh, and the other thing we have to say is that the Board of Education seats are nonpartisan, and so they actually have to run again in November in the general election if there are more than two candidates in the primary, right? So I think I covered all of the nuances. So now I'm going to do a share and go to the candidates. Okay, so first off, we have Board of Education District 2, which is, and forgive me if I mispronounce names, this is cold. I'm not a language expert. All right. So in District 2, we have Alvaro E. Serron Ruiz, and who was, I understand, a former student board member. We have Terrence J. Clegg and Caroline de Car Golden. I learned to read phonetically, y'all, so it is what it is.
Yeah, we got phonetics back then. We got phonics.
All right, so any commentary on these candidates? This is the North County area, Greenbelt, College Park, I think a little bit of Hyattsville, maybe some Riversdale.
Yeah. Is who's currently in this seat? Is
Is
that
that Pamela
Briggs?
Boozer Struthers?
No, she's 3. So this has to be Briggs.
Oh,
who,
the one we
yeah,
don't want. So
the
he's not running
well, he's
again,
not
huh?
running again. Yeah, remember he was packed in there by Progressive Maryland.
Oh, okay. I wonder why he's gotten out of it. Didn't he have a residency question as well? Wasn't there some?
Yeah, there was questions as to
I wonder
somebody had
why he's not running again because school board seats are not term limited.
maybe he has had enough of the silliness,
Or
I mean,
he
he
knows
he
some
def
stuff he shouldn't.
well, I mean, he looks like he's always tried to stay above all of the controversy, but when you have been handpicked by the progressive bloc, it's kind of hard for you to keep your hands clean.
Okay, well, that's a good
Um,
for him. We wish you well, Mr. Briggs.
Yeah, because he's the vice chair right now. But again, what we're going to do is go look at their campaign reports. Let's see where the donations come in. That will tell
Mhm.
us all.
Yeah, y'all gotta. I remember people used to say, follow the money," and when you're dealing with people who you believe have integrity, that really doesn't register as much. But man, nowadays you got to look. Not to say that there wasn't a critical point back in the day, but I'm just
Hmm.
saying that for the people I was supporting, I never had that issue. So now we're going to move on to the District 3 seat. Juan Arango Milan from Brentwood and Jamie McGonigal
Yeah. Now,
from
I think
Hyattsville.
Juan isn't Juan endorsed by Pamela Boozer Struthers. I think
I don't
he's
know
that
why I thought it
candidate.
was the other guy, but maybe. I mean, if she's District 3, then I would believe so because she's not running anymore either.
Mm-mm.
Hmm.
Burnout, I'm sure.
Yeah, she said, excuse me, she wants to do some other things. So,
Yeah.
all righty. Next, we have the hot seat, the hotbed of Prince George's County, the heart of
Yes.
Prince George's County, District 6, where the current board chair, Brandon Jackson, serves. And he needs to resign. I don't know why he hasn't resigned yet
Let's
because he was
see.
named as COO of EDC, the Economic Development Corporation. And he's been kind of quiet, so I don't know what's going on, but we wish you well also, Brandon.
No, we don't.
Well, we wish us well,
We
and
wish the district gets
we're
the
going
right candidate.
we're going to talk
Right.
about why we wish him well because somebody's eventually going to take some heat for the nonsense that's happening, but we're going to get to that.
Exactly.
All
Exactly.
right. So it's kind of tongue in cheek. We wish you well.
But now Ashley, remember, now I liked her.
I didn't
The
name him yet. I didn't name
oh,
him
oh,
yet.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, that's okay. Tyra Janet Bennett
Just
from
jumping.
Capitol Heights and Ashley
Woo.
Kearney also from Capitol
The
Heights, who is a
heights.
graduate of Central High School, Falcons for life. Go ahead, Tonya.
Well, I like the fact they're both from Capitol Heights. I grew up in Capitol Heights, but Ashley, I wish she had won last time.
Yeah,
I thought she was the better candidate.
yeah. I didn't find out that about Ashley's
Mhm.
credentials until, well after I had agreed to support Brandon. She got in the race kind of late,
Mhm.
and I went to school with some of her family. And nobody said to me, "Hey, Levon, my cousin, niece, play sister is running. Can you give her some love? Check her out." They all know I'm political. And so
Mhm.
I was not, as I told her mother, we worked the poll at First Baptist Church at Glen Arden together. I said, listen, your daughter has credentials that Brandon does not have. She's an educator and she's been very engaged in DC public schools. I believe that's where she was, and in policy. She's just sharp chick, right? I don't know anything about her opponent, Tyra, but I wish them well. We got to find out if Tyra is part of the progressive crew, because I don't believe that Ashley would be engaged with them. That's just my
Yeah.
personal evaluation of the
And
possibility.
and Ashley, if you're approached, say no. Just say
Yeah. And,
no.
oh, she serves in the Seat Pleasant Council or Commission, whatever Seat
Hmm.
Pleasant has. I did see that.
Hmm.
'Cause she's been kind of off my radar anyway, but I was glad to see that she has been doing some public service work as well in the county. Board of Education, District 9, that's my district. Erica K. Bennett lives in Fort Washington. Jennifer Hooker, who is currently serving as the president of the Frederick Douglass PTA. She lives in Brandywine. Chandra C.J. Jackson Saunders, Fort Washington, don't know her.
Isn't she the person that was just put on by Great Boy to
Oh, is that
fill?
her? The
I think
older,
that's.
I'm sorry,
Hmm.
the not the mature lady.
I think that's her. Yeah.
Yeah, she serves, if that's her, let's look her up. If that's her, she serves on the Democratic Central Committee. And she gave me her card, so I need to figure out what I did with it. Because she was supposed to send me some information. Um, okay, did you find her yet, Tonya?
Oh no, I didn't look her up, but I'm pretty sure she was just sworn in. I thought I just read she just got sworn in on the school board about a week ago. I didn't know Jennifer was still with the PTA because all her kids have graduated.
Mm-hmm. Um,
It looks like she was a retired school psychologist.
yeah, she's listed on the PGCPS, so I guess she worked there, or she worked in DC public schools.
Mm-hmm.
Um, named National School Psychologist of the Year by the National Association of School Psychologists. Um, She's a member of that sorority that they act like they can't find no other color outfits to wear or any other pins to wear. I'm not going to say the name of it, but I'm sure the sorority appreciates all the free publicity. I have never seen elected people wear their colors and their letters in official capacity. I just don't like that, Miss Jackson Saunders. I seen you in the pictures in Annapolis. So yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of that. So anyway, that's what she does. And then Candace Perkins, her name is familiar. I feel like I know. Is Candace, wait a minute, maybe I said it wrong. Which one? No, Jennifer is the PTA president. If I,
Jennifer kids have been out of school for
so maybe it's
a good
Candace.
time. Yeah.
Maybe it's Candace.
Maybe it's Candace. Yeah,
It's
I think it may be
Candace.
Candace.
So
Yeah.
I know Jennifer's name from when I was in Frederick Douglass as a parent. So forgive
Well,
me.
Jennifer, you probably know Jennifer from Central. She was the Central parent.
Oh,
Yeah. She served on the
oh,
county PTA when I was on the county PTA.
okay. That's why her name is familiar. Okay, I'm glad
Hmm.
y'all can't see my face right now because I'm bugging. Y'all forgive me. I'm
Yeah,
working with a
yeah,
few
yeah.
less
She's a Central parent. Yeah.
sparks tonight. Okay, so anyway, we got our people all together. So my
Hmm.
apologies, ladies. And Ms. Jackson Saunders, do not take that as me discrediting your capacity to serve in this seat. But just know we ain't fans of your leadership. But anyway, um, we glad they got somebody reputable to fill in the spot. So whoever
Hmm.
wins, the top two vote getters in each race will meet each other again in November.
Right.
Anything else? Any other commentary? Anything you all want to see in particular from our school board members?
Well, I would just tell people when you start asking questions of the candidates, make sure you ask the right questions. Remember, they have nothing to do with Creating the curriculum. So if they start saying things like, well, I'm going to make sure that we have the right curriculum and we're going to make sure we're going
Mhm.
to, teachers are doing this, that's not their job. If they start singing that song, just scratch them off your list because they don't know what they're talking about. We need oversight on our board, and that's one of the problems that we're having across our government. Too many people thinking that their oversight or checks and balances or legislation, whatever, but they think everybody wants to do programming. Everybody can't do programming.
And everybody want to be play brother and play sisters.
Right.
Exactly. So, get your questions together. That's a good, we probably need to put a list of suggested questions because you need to ask the right questions. You need to ask oversight questions, and they need to understand what oversight really means. Doesn't mean you go out and get your own lobbyist and waste money that should go in the classroom so that you can have your
10,000 a month.
own lobbyist. Yeah. Well, not only that one, but just this current one, the current
Mhm.
board, getting their own lobbyists. It is not your job to go out there and get a legislative agenda together for the administration. That's why, and the superintendent is getting paid the money they get paid. They bring their legislative people together, and then they present that to the board, and let the board know how their position, and then the board can say yeah or nay. But anytime you have the board members doing all this programming and asking for all these committees because they need to do programming, they don't know what they're doing. And we need to get back to oversight with our board.
Yeah, oversight. And we don't want board members who are cheerleaders for elected officials either.
Yes.
I've never seen so much applause for county executives. I mean, protocol would be the county executive is introduced and people would applaud. But this one and the last one, all of the accolades and our dynamic, that if I had done that with Rashern, oh, they would have dragged me through the mud. There she go. Oh, they can heat all that in a bag of chips. Just say the man's name and sit down. We didn't do that stuff. We would say, please welcome the county executive, Rashern L. Baker III. Polite applause, whatever. These people, all the wonderful, beautiful dynamic, and stop. Enough, y'all. But anyway, so I'm gonna hand it over to Tonya, who wants to talk about what the current school board and school leadership have us doing now. Oh, but let me say one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say one more thing. You all need to expand your vocabulary. Those of you who want to come on our page and call us toxic and we don't like people. Like, come on, how old are we? How old are we?
Yeah.
The best you can do is that we don't like somebody or we are toxic. No, what's toxic is corruption. What's
Yes.
toxic is violating protocol, policy, and the charter.
And stealing
What's
from children.
what's toxic is how people complain about our tax dollars, but then want to excuse people for their actions.
To waste
We're
it.
not supposed to call it out. If somebody came and stole your purse and went and spent it on something other than your bills, how would you feel about that? So that's how we feel. We feel like they are mishandling our money and they are spending it in ways that we do not agree
And
with.
remember, it's not like we feel, because this is an emotion.
Exactly.
We are showing proof that they're doing it.
Exactly.
Receipts.
So,
It's called receipts.
so when you all decide
The
to
only thing I
challenge
feel
us,
is sadness. That's the only feeling I have when I look at it, besides the anger. But outside of that, it's not a feeling; it's facts.
right, it's fact.
Yes.
And so when you all want to challenge what we're saying, if you find us to be critical, then come with the counterpoint. Come with something that's factual. Give us a document that disputes us. It's called the art of debate. Maybe y'all been out of high school too long. Maybe you never had a debate class or a debate experience. But come on, y'all. We're not doing this so that we can be popular. We're doing
Exactly.
this because we want a better existence in Prince George's
It's
County.
this lady on Instagram that I really like. I can't remember her name right now, but it's on a different subject. She does like relationship coaching or something like that, and she
Mhm.
talks about facts over feelings. And
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, we're gonna have a conversation about facts, so only facts are allowed. Can we agree on these facts?
Right.
And some people can't even get past the first couple of questions because they just can't admit, a simple fact. So she shuts the conversation down. But that's how I am in the comments as well. And some people may not like it, but I'm like, leave your fallacies at home. And
Mm-hmm.
I look for those. I'm like, what are we talking about here? And is this germane to the conversation? If not,
Right.
I,
Bye.
Yeah,
what
I
are we
he
just
doing?
like,
did.
hey,
He
I just
did
like to
that to
add.
me. He been
Mhm.
testing out I guess his learning from this therapist online. He did that to me the other day. And I was like, really? That's how we doing me now? Oh, okay. I
I
thought
think
we could have 360-degree type of conversations, but he
I
checked me,
think hey,
boo.
guys, I think sometimes people get sidetracked past the factual information with
Mhm.
people's delivery. When they say toxic, I think they're talking about maybe how we say something or how we may perceive it and how we present it. But you got to see past the personalities. We have 5 different personalities on this podcast, and my delivery is not going to be Tanya's delivery. Hers isn't going to be Sherman's, but we want you to look at the facts that we present and how the facts are affecting the county that we live in, the community, and our students. That's the bottom line.
Right. And the truth is, we don't like some of these people, but that's just, we don't. And
That's
the
real.
ones, but the ones I don't like are because I've had interaction with them, and I don't like them. Some of these people I've never talked to before. So, trust and believe. If you want to know if I like or dislike somebody, we can talk about that offline. But this ain't personal, and it ain't about
Sorry, y'all.
personalities, even though personalities drive leadership style and management
Uh,
style
Well,
and all
but
the
you know
things.
what? I don't. Okay. I will say this. If I ask a question, that I don't understand how that can be misinterpreted as a bad delivery. If I
mm,
state a fact and say, these programs are already funded under this area of government and it has guardrails to protect kids, how are you offended? When I ask the
Mhm.
question, you have not shown us, all you're doing is showing us your glorious presentation. But behind the scenes, I want to know, how are children going to be safe? What is a liability to our county? So the tox using that word toxic, using the word disgusting, or no, what was aggressive, using terms like that, to me, it's not our delivery. It is your frustration and not knowing, not being able to respond with facts to refute or debate or dispute. You're it is always an emotion. And
that's a good
I
point.
agree with Levon. If you don't like the conversation, then just don't be a part of it. But don't come on here and try to say, "Oh, they just don't want to listen. They just want to target people." We're not targeting. The people we're targeting are people breaking the law, or the
Yeah.
people that are not doing things according to the law, according to bylaws, according to rules and regulations that they want everybody else to abide by. Those are the people and we're not even targeting. They're the ones who give us all the news. They give us all the
Mhm.
events to respond to.
Okay, I don't make the news. I just report it.
There you
Exactly.
go.
But I tell
They
you what,
give
I
us
like to
plenty
use
of.
adjectives like Eric Mays too. Like he said, I like your adjectives. So bring them.
Yeah, and if y'all, if y'all want to put us out of business, then stop being corrupt. Plain and simple.
That would be
That
really
part.
good.
Yeah, because I could use my time doing other stuff, and I'm just being honest.
Exactly. You think we like to every few minutes we got to read emails, we got to read laws, we got to read bylaws. You think that that's how we want to spend? Look, I want to sometimes go out and play dominoes on Friday, right, Sherman?
But when I go on vacation, I don't want to have to send out MPIAs and threaten lawsuits.
Exactly. I want to take my extra money and not have to pay for judicial reviews. Come
That
on.
They
We're
They
pay
not
don't
six
doing
hundred
care.
dollars
Look,
for
they
grass
are
cutting
not
information.
they're not interested until 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, MS Now, whatever, CNN shows us handcuffed going to the paddy wagon. That's when they believe, oh, it's been corrupt. In the meantime, in the tween time, their colleagues know that they doing wrong.
So
exactly.
do.
And
You
then
And
when
know,
you
sometimes they
when you
reach out
get
to us
and
asking
when
mm-hmm.
you
us for
get to
help.
start getting
absolutely.
your increased taxes, when you start seeing your bills going up and all this stuff, um,
And then they want
then
to say they always picking on black people. Well,
Sherman, can you check the chat? Somebody asked us to look at the chat, what they put in the
if
chat.
you're in if you're in
Yeah.
a majority black county that has majority black leadership, they ain't picking on you because you black. They picking on you because you crooked.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
So let's
mm.
just put race. Y'all they run on race, which to me is the most ignorant thing ever. Like, who you talking to when you vote for me because I'm black and I'm a single mother and I'm this, that, and the other? How about
And
I
you'll
vote
make
for you
history.
because you got credentials? Like, why do I care that you're black? We all black. The majority of us are black. So what else does that mean?
I
Like,
definitely I don't sorry for cutting you off, Lavon, but there was a comment that didn't make it onto CAG, and that was part of their conversation about Prince George's County having so many black people running the county, and we still have the same issues. And what we have to start realizing is there are people running the county. People have the compensatory to do the same thing, whether you're black, white, green, purple, or blue.
right,
It people do some wild, crazy shit. Excuse my
right,
language.
right,
And that's just the fact of the matter is. So, and also it's indicative of the population of the county. The county
right.
has a high population of minorities, and that's just, it's not like we stopped any other candidates from running or we didn't vote for any other candidates. The majority of people that put their name on the ballot were African Americans, or leave it alone. Yeah, so they were of the diaspora, and essentially, there's no way that we can say, oh well, we're doing politics solely based on color. I will say that we do them with other issues, that you all named earlier in the show, but that's my 2 cents.
Right, and that's
So
the
I'll
thing
be quiet.
about it. It's like somebody made a comment I posted about the at-large seats being misused and abused by Calvin and Mel and Jolene and Walla. And in the comments, one of my friends said, "Well, in politics, you're gonna have this, this, and this." And I said, "No, people are corrupt, shady, and whatever other description he used. They, in turn, create this environment of politics. So we can't keep assigning blame to politics. Politics is an inanimate,
Hmm.
intangible. Back in the day, when you were in elementary school, you learned about pronouns, people, places, and things.
Thing.
Politics is a thing influenced by people in places of authority. Okay, y'all got that? That's an
Right,
elementary
for the
school lesson.
The
Okay.
Boy,
high
uh,
school
education
political
rock.
education.
But
science.
now we had one comment in the chat
Oh,
saying
I
vote
didn't
them
see it.
all. Yeah, vote
Oh,
them all
that's what it
out.
was.
Yeah, vote them all out. And but well, in the situation with the school system, none of the incumbents are running again. So,
They
uh,
running all right.
From what?
Different kind of run.
yeah,
They had one that resigned so she could run for a District 9 seat, but she was sitting in that seat while they was
doing
spending
all
money
that.
that they didn't have.
Oh, which gets to are we ready for
Yeah,
that? Is
go
that a
ahead,
good
That's where
Tony.
you're
segue
Yep.
supposed to
in?
go.
They up there.
Okay,
Y'all
so
finish.
let's talk about that spending of the money. I tell you. So now we know that they were talking about this $150 million deficit. Now, this is what everybody has to understand about that deficit. One, before they forced out Millard House, the CFO presented to the board, who should be doing oversight and not programming, presented to the board a balanced budget that considered the loss of money coming from the federal government and money that we had lost, and that now they want to cry over spilled milk over the telecommunications and energy tax, which went away 2 years ago. So that was already taken in consideration when that budget was put forth by the CFO. So in comes Mr. Dr. Sean Joseph, Aisha Brave Boy pick, who she says she knows he's qualified. He's the right fit for Prince George's County. And I guess so because of her and Burrow's deficit spending plan. So I guess he was the right fit because here we are. $150 million from the time he came in, his contract was effective July 1. So from July 1, because remember, the budget was presented for approval in February. So he comes in July 1. That's when they reconcile the budget. All of a sudden, we go from a budget that was presented to the board that would and had the appropriate cuts so that it was balanced to all of a sudden we now have
It
a
was seemingly
100.
balanced.
Hmm?
It was seemingly balanced.
It was in balance after he got in office. But now it's $150 million. And, we talked about some of the things that he did since he came on board. One of the things is, and everybody was clapping and say, oh, yeah. And it's not that we say our teachers do not deserve a raise. They do. But if you know you don't have the money to pay for it, so that's like, how we say it's irresponsible where you go and do all this home improvement and you put it on a credit card and you don't have the money to pay the credit card off, or you sign that contract saying you'll make monthly payments and you don't have the income to make those monthly payments. So we sign a contract committing, they want to put it like this. One of the reasons we have this deficit, we have an increased compensation. So we have $102 million in staff raises now. I ain't hear nothing about educating kids, but staff raises, negotiating.
So it's not going to the classroom.
Right, not going to the classroom. Now, negotiated contracts, those are your teachers, so that's going into the classroom. And to keep salaries competitive. Again, we are not saying teachers should not be paid, but if you don't have the money to pay them, and that is what Mr. House was saying, I can give you a raise, but this is what I can give you and not bankrupt the system. Here comes in Mr. Joseph, the right man, the right fit, Dr. Joseph.
For the job.
Excuse me, for the job, Dr. Joseph. I'm going to sign it anyway. This is my 100-day plan.
You mean the right fix?
Oh, the right fix. $102 million, and we have no source to pay for this money. Now, they want to try to tell you it's because we lost the telecommunication tax legislation. Again, don't believe that foolishness, y'all, because we lost that before this happened. Remember, we lost this because Angela Alsobrooks. Exactly. Angela Alsobrooks was the county
and
executive.
We told y'all
this.
We told y'all, and everybody said, oh, no, it's fine. That money's going to be recouped. It's going back in the budget, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And look where we at now.
Look where now. And understand, it wasn't just the telecommunications tax. And again, this goes to show when you have a person in a place who really don't know what he's doing, he's just putting out what he's being fed, because it wasn't just a telecommunications tax. It was a telecommunication and energy tax that was taken away. And the money,
they increased it afterwards.
Exactly.
The taxes went up.
The money was earmarked. The money was not used for just general operations. So it's not like
Mhm.
it went into the pot of gold for the school system to use. It was earmarked for specific purposes. So don't believe this lie that they're running around
Maintenance
telling
and
everybody
repairs.
that the deficit is because of this telecommunication tax going. This deficit is because one, we have this $102 million. And oh, one thing about those salaries, remember, when Dr. Sean Joseph came on board, he started firing people. So we were paying double salaries because the people that he fired got severance pay. So
Hmm.
they were able to continue to get paid even though they weren't at work. They
Ain't
were
that a
able to
blessing?
continue to get paid. Oh, ain't that a blessing?
Yeah.
And we're talking about people whose salaries are in excess of $200,000 a year. So we were paying them while they were Dr. Joseph was hiring the loyalists to come on board and fill these seats. Like the director of communications, I believe she is she deputy communications director, coming on board from Aisha Brave Boys camp. Never been in the school system, from what I was told. But we're paying all of these salaries, these high salaries all of a sudden. So he brings all his players in. And in honesty, that happens with every superintendent. But what does not happen is we're paying two salaries for
Well,
one position. That
well, that
does not
happens.
happen.
Does that not happen when you're bringing in somebody for a full term? Or does that
Well,
happen
oh,
anytime
good
somebody's
point,
coming to fulfill a
Sherman.
year? Because I mean,
Very good point,
how
Sherman.
asinine could that be? For
Mhm.
that administration and never mind. Go ahead.
No, but excellent point. He's temporary. It's a year contract. Even like paying $365,000, which takes us to the other part of why we are where we are with all this deficit spending that came with Dr. Sean Joseph. So not only did we have this additional, and the teacher salaries was about $96 million, I was told, of this $102 million. So that's extra money that probably went into SASSER. But $800,000 is went for that settlement for them to force out Mr. House. That was $800,000 that we didn't even have to spend. 600 is about $600,000 for executive staff that were terminated and they had to be paid while they were replaced by the loyalists. So
And
that's a
while you have to send toilet paper and writing paper
Kleenex,
and
soap,
pens and
hand sanitizer,
and
face
pampers and stuff
towel.
to the school system in order to teach your kids.
Mhm.
$1.2 million. $1.2 million that could have gone to the schools. Now, let's talk about his salary, base salary for 1 year. This is just an interim contract, a 1 year contract, $365,000. That's what he was paid, y'all. He got a slush fund, $3,000 a month. And he doesn't have to give a receipt. Wouldn't y'all love to do that? Wouldn't you love if your company said, okay, we're going to give you expense budget, $3,000 a month, and you never have to tell us how you spent it.
You get a
No
personal
receipt.
call. We gonna pay your internet.
To pick you up, take you
Exactly.
back.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I mean, can you even put $73,000 into your retirement account in 1 year? Isn't there a cap? $73,000 into his retirement account. And the one that really cracks me up is $15,000 a year for his professional development for an interim person that you brought because he was the right fit, because he had all the experience.
It should already be developed.
I, I would think so. I
That
would
was
think so.
reimbursement for him to get his license back.
Oh, you know what? You're right, Sherman, because that was the other good thing. Yeah, he did not renew his superintendent license until he was offered this job. And the reason why we were able to find that out, of course, y'all, we do these MPIAs all the time, and we found out how long when his license expires. And when you look at the expiration date and how often you have to renew, it showed that he got his license just shortly before he got offered the job. Life insurance, $14,000 annually for his life insurance premiums. How many of you have to pitch in with your life insurance on your employer? Anybody see those little deductions on your check? Well, looks like we paid all his. And like Sherman said, we're paying his internet, we're paying his cable because he must always have that up. So I guess Comcast or whoever is providing his internet and cable have a special line for him to make sure it doesn't go down because we're making sure we pay for it. And he gets a vehicle, he gets a driver, and he gets security. All of that. And guess where he lives, y'all? He doesn't live in Prince George's County. Guess where he gets the ride from? That's a beautiful
He could
ride
get a
going up
nap.
and going up and down 270 every day.
I thought we was all about homegrown and making sure we are hiring people who live right here, whose
In the
taxes go
county.
right here. But they didn't like Maxwell because he was the wrong skin color. They was against him from jump.
Well, there's some other things too, but that one
No, that's
though.
not why they was against that. We know why they was against him. The first thing was he was not black. That was the
Well,
first
see,
part.
I can honestly say I wasn't for his appointment, but it wasn't because he was not
I
black.
understand that, but I'm just saying on the surface, Tonya, they were against Maxwell. He met all the other qualifications. He grew up in Prince George's County. He was educated in Prince George's County. He taught in Prince George's County public schools. He
He did.
elevated to administrative duties in Prince George's County schools. Like, come on. He owned a house in Prince George's County. He
Yes, he
never
did.
moved, even though he worked in Anne Arundel County. It's not about whether or not he had some missteps that or some questionable decisions that he made in his career.
Well,
This is
it wasn't that either. It wasn't that either.
I'm just saying this is about the fact that on the surface they always so shallow. But now we not supposed to be shallow with this man. Like, come
Right.
on.
I
Like, let's
mean,
just start here.
Millard House left the state. What if Miller House was trying to stay in, commute from Houston to Prince George's County every
Yeah.
day?
He
What
could
if
have
he was
left
doing
his
something? You would say
family.
that makes no sense. And you may
Right.
say, well, he's in Maryland, but yeah, he's in Gaithersburg, Maryland, coming all the way to Prince George's County, and we are paying for a vehicle, a driver, and
And gas is
security.
high.
Yes.
Gas is high.
And I'm sorry, he's never lived in Prince George's County. He Millard House came to the county to live. He's he's close enough if he wants that job because that was the other thing. We got a great letter from that Brandon Jackson. Y'all know we love MPIAs. We got this great letter from Brandon Jackson to Dr. Carrie Wright, the state superintendent. And what does he say to her? We look forward to working with Dr. Sean Josephs for the next 4 years. See, they're so silly. They give their plots away ahead of time. That's what he wrote to the state
No,
superintendent.
they didn't mean that. That was just one of them things where they forgot to take the 4 out and put the 1. This was prepared already.
They just forgot to do that, right?
No, it wasn't a
Give them the
canned
benefit of the
letter.
doubt.
It wasn't. No, no.
it
He
wasn't.
didn't realize he was giving the plot away. That's all. But it could be. It could be. It could be. We'll see. But now I'm hearing because what we said didn't make sense about this budget is okay, if the budget deficit is coming in the 2027 year, why is the superintendent currently snatching overtime from bus drivers? Derek, I know you want to comment on that. From teachers, going into the discretional funds of principals and snatching money out of their discretional funds. So he's snatching all this money now, but the deficit is not supposed to happen until 2027. So now I'm hearing that the school system may be looking at an additional $100 million deficit. So how in the world did we go from a budget that was sound and balanced to a board that should have oversight to now a $250 million deficit? And they want to say that this man's name will come up in the superintendent permanent selection? I don't think so. Any comments, y'all?
Just ridiculous. Well, I wanted to comment that I just read the names of the committee that's supposed to have oversight of the selection of the candidates, I guess, and the recommendations for selection. I was encouraged by one, Jennifer Avalar. She's a younger woman who's has not been, typically part of the nonsense around town. Um, and I was encouraged to see her name as one of the committee members because, it's nice to have a fresh voice, a fresh set of eyes, a fresh set of ears. So I am encouraged by that. I'm not sure about her partner on the committee, Gordon Sampson.
Oh, can I say something
Um,
about that one?
Wait a minute, let me just finish. So I met Gordon when he was president or chair of the Bowie State University Foundation Board. Um, Interesting guy, former educator in PGCPS. But he's old guard. He's old guard, and that's what I'll say. And you go ahead, Tonya.
Well, here's my big problem, and that is in January, Aisha Braveboy, thinking that nobody knows the law but her, made an announcement that she had basically announced the committee, her picks for the selection committee for the permanent superintendent. Well, apparently, and what's so funny is she needs to talk to her communications people too, because they put the law in there. They put
Which
the they
one? Which director? She got two.
I think I think
Both of
what
them.
One of
I
them, I don't know if he even
no, I think
survived.
Sharon did this one. I think it was under
Yeah.
her. So it had the law in there, and it was even written out what the law says about the state superintendent and the governor selecting the members of the committee. Yet and still, she says she has selected these two people, and she was submitting their names. And I'm laughing because I'm like, she must have read the law from 2000 when we had the fully appointed board. Because remember, Jack got to select people on those committees. So I don't know. I guess maybe she got it mixed up, got her decades mixed up. But anyway, um, Gordon Sampson is one of the names that she selected. So I think that he should be disqualified from that. The pick should be from the governor. It should, and to me that there's a conflict here, and I'm really getting tired of Wes Moore condoning the corruption in Prince George's County. I'm just going to say it. I am done with him condoning the corruption in Prince George's County. How in the world or do you ever expect to be president when you keep leaving this trail of corruption that can easily come back on you when you run?
How do you expect him to run and not get the support of these corrupt people that's in these districts?
Point.
Because
Chris,
clearly they
That's
all
what
run in
they
the
do.
same circle,
Yep.
and you sleep with dog, you get fleas, right?
There you
yes,
go.
Ain't that what y'all parents told y'all too? So in
exactly.
essence, it's just it's a problem because again, like I said earlier, it's elected officials that reach out to us complaining and crying and about the stuff that's going on in the county, and not just that, but you have people's of civic associations too. So it's like they just want us to be the down the
But see
ball
that,
Well,
guys.
that, that that's the problem though for me, Sherman. That's a
It
problem
is.
for me because if they are political officials and they're in those seats, it's their job to speak up when there's
exactly.
injustice or something's wrong. So I mean, coming to us to put us out front to say it, so we can be called what was it, Levon,
Toxic.
toxic
Oh,
and all
Hmm.
those.
toxic,
Come on, man.
angry,
Aggressive.
You got
bitter.
you got to get some backbone, man. People not always gonna like what you say or what stand for something or fall for everything.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Jack,
Well, you know what? And Westmore can still do the right thing. pull Gordon Sampson off of that committee. Pull him off. Show the people that you have some integrity, because there's no way in the world, after all we have been through with Aisha Brave Boy breaking the law to get who she wants, slithered into the superintendent position. At some point, you should have said, "Nope, can't use you. Sorry,"
But she's
because
been breaking
you
the
are
law all year, though. Putting people in positions
exactly.
that don't, that
But
appointing people
he,
she
you
has
would,
no right to do,
but
because she
you
did
would
it for the
think
EDC.
But you would think that he would show some respect for Prince Georgians
But
to
why?
not allow, because you're the governor for everybody. I expect for you to do the right thing, and that is to pull Gordon Sampson's name off the committee. He should not have any say. And y'all do know that I do, if I remember correctly, that is her old principal from Largo.
Mm-hmm.
But even still, he should be pulled off the committee just because of the fact that she broke the law for his name to even be considered. And so it is tainted. And he can show some integrity too.
Fruit of the poison is free.
You can resign. You can resign from the committee, because we are sick and tired of people doing they do wrong knowing that we have to go through an administrative process to get things corrected. And they know the administrative process is so long. By the time we get something heard, they are way down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they play on. And so, for the people, if you all who come up on our page say that you are really tired, you need to be writing Wes Moore, and you need to tell him Gordon Sampson needs to be removed from this committee and have no part of this committee. Mr. Sampson, if you want to show some integrity, you need to take your name off of this, because, and maybe you didn't know, maybe you didn't understand, and you didn't realize that Aisha Brave Boy, like so many other people that get caught up with these progressives, and they get themselves wrapped up into their corrupt ways. Maybe you didn't know what she had done. Because she did this back in January, even before the statutory time to begin the search for a superintendent had started. But y'all got to remember the other thing too. Now, remember, Sean Joseph said that he was on what? Didn't he say he was on leave until April? So they may be trying to get something through before his leave is up. They, they just play so many games. But if
On
y'all are
leave where? From
from
where?
from Howard, so if y'all are really serious, when y'all get on our page and say you're tired of the corruption in Prince George's County, you're sick of this, bombard the office of Wes Moore and tell them to remove I said Ralph Sampson, Gordon Sampson. Bombard the state superintendent's office and let them know they better not have Sean Joseph's name come up here. There's no way in the world. $150 million debt, and we're now hearing another $100 million when he was given a good budget. Don't y'all say anything about what's happening on Pennsylvania Avenue if you can't, if this is acceptable to you.
Yeah, that's like, what's her name? Erica
Absolutely.
Kurt got named to the Air Force Academy's board or the Air Force Commission board or something. No qualifications. Everybody got a job. You can get a job. You
You
can
can
get a
get a job
job. But you
for
don't have
200K too.
no experience. Jared Kushner is now giving intel and military instruction to what's his name, his daddy-in-law. Like, come on, dude, don't know nothing. We're in the middle of possible, WW3, and it's because somebody said, oh, well, we should do this. And like, come on, y'all, it's just too much. And for people who don't like that we talk about these things, and y'all say that, we are misspeaking or whatever. Well, no, we're not in every room. But y'all got people who are in the rooms who are leaking information, who are sharing information. And so,
And
but if you got
Well,
some
a lot
teeth
of
in
but
them
this,
be in the
but
room
we
too, and they're
we
just trying to do damage control, quiet as it's
no,
kept, and
but
truth be told.
yeah, but my thing is this: tell us where we're misspeaking. Y'all
that's what I'm saying,
always
because
But
we
that's
bring
what I'm
bring our
saying.
receipts. We
They're
right,
bring
trying to
our
do damage
receipts.
control. They don't really have it. They're just,
right.
you have to
So
sow the seeds of doubt. That's
So
all.
I mean,
do
tell us where we were wrong when
right.
Aisha Braveboy, sitting as the state's attorney, said that she went out and did a search and she has appointed Dr. Sean Joseph to be the next interim. Tell us where we are wrong when the law is clear. That is not her
But she
job.
was the pre-county executive at the time.
It even if she was the pre-county executive, you don't do the search. You're not an educator.
And how
You
about you
got people
tell us?
talking about how bad the state's attorney's office was, and you're an attorney. But yet and still, you are saying you can select a superintendent?
But how
I'm
about this,
sorry.
Tanya? How about you tell us who your candidates were? What kind of search did you do in less than a day since y'all fired Mr. House on one
House.
day and was announcing
On Wednesday and Friday, we
Joseph?
had a new person.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. How
Well,
do
but
y'all
yeah, remember
justify
now,
that?
you gotta remember now, they were negotiating and forcing him out around June 4th. So
No,
remember
no,
now,
no,
they had,
no. But that's not public record. I'm only
oh,
talking
oh, did
about
I
what's
tell something? Oh, did I do
I'm just talking about
that?
what's on public record where we could see that they were promoting because they had to do a press conference and they did that's just like the woman at EDC, Ingrid Watson, former council member who became the president without a vote from the board.
They
And
ain't even know. What you mean to vote?
hey,
They found out when we
no,
You
found
said no notice. They didn't get a
hey,
notice.
Aisha was posting congratulations.
let them know.
And I was on the phone with with some people, and they was like, "How do you know that we supposed to have a vote?" I said, "Cause it was in the newspaper." So Aisha do what Aisha wants to do. Obviously, she don't follow any protocol, and
And
so
or the law. The
therefore,
law
or
don't mean
law.
nothing.
So
That's bad.
therefore, we just calling out as we see it. If they don't post stuff on the gram, if they don't post stuff as a face on Facebook, we just face lookers. But unfortunately, we have the capacity to put two and two
Two.
together, and we
Yes.
get four like
Yeah.
old school math, real simple. One, two, three, four. Like, can we go?
Exactly.
Like, we're doing elementary school dynamics here, y'all. This ain't rocket science.
It sure is not.
You
I,
know,
we,
quite frankly, I don't think anybody ever expected us to do this work.
of course
Yeah.
not.
To
Oh, no.
start challenging and bucking the system. They also didn't think that, it would become as large as it has become or and still growing. But the truth of the matter is, you know, there there are watchdog groups all across America.
Mm-hmm.
With Prince George's County because there hasn't been one, and then we also don't have a local news station that focuses on Prince George's County so much is able to like go through, and people think that it's okay. This is what your government is allowed to do, and a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people have actually gotten Stockholm syndrome. They've suffered with their
Yes.
abuse, for so long, but now they're justified. Like, yeah, it's okay when he do that. It's okay,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
when
Well,
they hit us across the head with
and
another thief.
Sherman,
So.
you are 100% right. And that's why when people see legislators creating programs, they're like, what's wrong with that? That's good.
Hmm. Hmm.
But you can't create the
Blurring the lines.
program and then fund it. There is something called oversight missing when that happens.
Right.
That's why you have separate branches of government. I was blown away when someone asked me, you're accusing them of doing something out of jurisdiction with no evidence. It's called civics. It's something that you were taught in school.
So that's elementary school again. Conjunction,
Well,
just
that was more
under
high
I'm the
school. That's more
bill.
high
I'm
school.
only a bill sitting up a Capitol Hill. Like that's elementary school again, y'all. Come on,
Well,
schoolhouse
well,
rock.
remember now that's high school, so you can't drop out.
No,
Remember we have drop. You can drop out at 16. So if you drop out at 16, maybe you miss civics.
no,
I
you
I
can't
don't
drop
know.
out at 16 no more because Aisha sponsored a bill that changed the age of consent to 18 without
Oh,
parental
oh,
permission.
are you?
I
Okay. Well,
hadn't heard that.
I hadn't heard that one because are
Me.
they still dropping out?
Oh, I've been saying that. She did that like in her last term.
Oh,
And
you said
that's
without the consent.
right. You have to have
Hmm.
consent of your parent to drop out at 16 or 17. Well, if I'm sitting around till I'm 18, I don't need my
Yeah,
parents' consent.
but you just but my point is you can still, if you drop out at 16, because you can still drop out at
Well, you can
16.
drop out because they can't
Yeah.
find you.
They don't go looking.
They don't, according to her, she had no truancy cases following COVID. She had 12 truancy cases. And the former deputy mayor commissioner
Mhm.
from District Heights said, well, ma'am, um, with all due respect, we got more than 12 truant students at District Heights Elementary School
Listen,
alone.
listen, that time that I was doing that work when, when Angela was leaving and there was a whole bunch of crime and everything going on and everybody's trying to figure out what's going on. I was like, well, hey, if we're talking about doing a curfew at this time, how many kids are not in school? But, I was looking at it from that aspect, but find out there's kids who are home because they can't get to school for a multitude of reasons. They have to take care of, you know, ailing
Mhm.
parents and, this and that. But there were schools that had a truancy rate over 50%.
Oh,
Mm.
we have a
And
truancy
changing the
rate in
records too.
Maryland.
But
There
Go
was some
ahead.
changing of the records to not show that kids have met that date. Number that where you supposed to send somebody out to them. Because my nephew was one of them,
Well, and
and
I,
we
I hate
tracked it.
I hate to keep bringing it back to this, but some of that truancy rate too is not because of the families wanting their child to be truant. Like Sherman was kind of saying, they can't get to school, and well, why can they not get to school? Because in Prince George's County, if you're in the riding zone, you're supposed to have a free and public education, which is inclusive of transportation, and
Mhm.
they're being failed in that area. So truancy, like Sherman was saying, could be a multitude of reasons
Friends,
why a
right.
child is not getting to school. We're not discounting that, but we have an obligation in this county to provide them a free way to school if
Mhm.
they're within that zone for that.
Right.
So Maryland is at its highest school dropout rate,
Mm.
7.4% in 2021 to 9.9% in 2025.
Wow.
And I saw something that I think it said
Well,
13th in the country or something like that.
well, that must be the other counties. It ain't Prince George's County because Dr. Sean Joseph worked all these miracles.
Oh yeah, he getting awards for making
They,
promises,
well,
y'all.
that
Have you
can't be in
ever
Prince
seen
George's County.
something?
No
Ever seen something like that? So I was
promises.
actually working on
Well,
something
say.
about high school dropout rate. But all of these things can be attributed to legislation that was passed regarding our school, our educational system, which led to truancy, which leads to crime, which leads to teen pregnancy, unwanted pregnancies, unexpected pregnancies,
All
however
of that
you want to label, which then means people need financial support, which means they
resources.
need housing, which need all the things that we are experiencing comes from the legislation that was passed that nobody either enforces or they ignore, or I mean they don't enforce it or they overdo it, and nobody's checking on things to see what's the progress since we changed the
You're
dropout rate. I
right.
remember in 2017 when the graduation scandal happened, and I was on
Hmm.
the radio and I got chastised for doing so, but I didn't care because my daughter was in the class of 2017, and you're not going to disrespect her and her classmates for their hard work, and they got 2 diplomas. And so I told them, I said, well, you have to know that there's certain factors involved in why we have an increase in our graduates. And that's one, because we did ninth grade revolving door initiatives to help people from repeating ninth grade. That was a crisis. We raised the dropout age to 18. So you got 20-year-olds sitting in school who don't care nothing. Eventually they got to get out because, oh, by the way, we made ninth grade in high school, which means you got 13 and 14-year-olds now. You can't have them going to school with a
Mhm.
21-year-old.
Right.
So, so we had all these things that are snowballing that obviously no one had anticipated would happen. But then, oh, by the way, you had this so-called challenge to the high school principals that you needed to graduate kids because the
Yep.
superintendent said we need an increase. Well,
Mm.
I can't dispute it or say he did or did not, but I do know for a fact that there was one school where an administrator went from classroom to classroom and told every teacher how many students they needed to graduate. Now, I don't know where they got that order from, but that's what they were doing. So my thing is this. We have to look at things in cycles, and before we can get anything researched and evaluated, we're making changes in the school system. We can't even get through a 4-year cycle before we making changes in the school system. So the $300 million, whatever it is that we might be losing, who allowed that? Why is that wasn't
Well,
seen?
but and that gets to the oversight of the board. The board is so busy out here trying to make a name for themselves for their next stepping stone that they are not making sure that when things are brought before them, they're doing the proper review. They are asking the proper questions. They're too busy sitting up here in committees talking about we're going to engage the community and we're going to tell the community what to do. It is they keep blurring the lines so
And we're
Or
that
gonna
do they
deal with
even know how to do oversight,
we're
for
gonna
lack of
deal with
better
the
word?
which is the
politics
other thing.
later.
Do they know how to ask the correct questions? Because I know I've sent um, my council person, not going to say any names, a couple of text messages during hearings like, hey, you should be asking these. You never ask them, but they were the proper questions. But we throw all these softball stuff, and there's no true accountability or oversight these days.
Well, that's because, like you
There's
said, they don't know what to ask, right? You got people that's prim and proper and poised and talking about we gonna work together and we're this and that, but we over the
but
slogans,
some of them don't care about it. They're trying to get the next job, the
right?
next office. That's
They
all
can't piss
it is.
anybody off.
Yeah, it's all about optics,
Right.
looking good in front of the camera so that they can say, I'm running for county council. I'm going to get a job in the government. I mean, they're looking for their next opportunity, and it's all off the backs of children. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the part that really angers me because they don't care about anybody but themselves.
Right. The fact that Gina Jacobs has the audacity to show her name on a ballot. Are you serious?
Okay, and you know what? And we're going to say something about that because, here's the problem that I have, and I understand she's a single parent trying to make sure she raised her son, and I have no problems with that. But what I do have a problem with, you participated in this mess with Mr. House. You represented
Yeah,
him,
that was.
and you knew it was not the right thing to do because
Because you
he
didn't
was
sign
being
it.
exactly.
Oh,
Ain't that something? She didn't even sign it. You represented your client and then didn't even put your name on the agreement, the separation agreement. You were nowhere to be on there. But even more important, you know the law because you it was you as the chair of the elected when we returned to the elected board. It was the corruption while you were chair of the board that caused the
The
HB
switch.
1107 of 2013. That's why we had to be restructured again. And for you to come up here now and think that you should be a at-large county council person, I'm sorry. Please go sit down. And then when you left the board, you said you learned your lesson and you were going to start a nonprofit and you were going to start teaching people how to advocate after learning your lesson and seeing the wrong things
The
that were done on the
corruption.
that was done on the board. Then you participate in the forcing out of Mr. House. You don't you hide behind the curtain, and so nobody knows that you negotiated on his behalf
you know what that
with
sound like, and
people who you knew shouldn't have been negotiating.
you know what that sound like, and that pisses me off because that makes me reminds me of Susan Collins when she was like, "The president has been impeached. He's learned his lesson."
Yeah,
Right.
really.
Right.
And look where
Well,
we are.
if
Look where
if
we
my
are.
Why
memory
don't take him out of office? He'll do right the next time.
Well, remember when Mr. Ed did his video about his accusations, and he talked about how he learned how to do political stuff when he was a student board member. He learned from the best. Well, guess who was on the school board when he was learning? Gina
Yeah,
Jacobs and Ron Watson. They were chair and vice
Yeah,
chair.
yeah, yeah.
That's intentional. We all put in the chat. They say remind him of the horse. That's intentional, Mr. Ed. That's what I. He always
Yeah,
smiling.
come on, that.
He's always smiling. He always got something to say. But yeah,
But
so y'all gonna put people back together? That's like a reunion. You think that the sisterhood and the brotherhood is so
yeah.
much
Well,
now?
haven't you
Oh my
noticed the
gosh.
pattern of all the cast that's
back and
being
forth.
brought back?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They reviving folks from the dead,
Reunited,
from the
and it
graveyard.
feels so good.
No, more like ball of confusion.
Mhm.
Y'all need to understand, you got to know these candidates. Don't just say that they have, that it's a popular name.
Or
There you go.
or that they shoveled my snow, cut my grass, brought me
Yeah.
some water, all of that.
Whew. You know,
Mm,
that's a very expensive MPIA request. I was told that it took them 30 days to give me an estimate to tell me that I have to pay $650 to get the information about District 7 and 8 grass cutting. Can you believe that?
First
So
of all,
my
And I'm being
question,
charged by the council members, both of them, in order to get this information. They charged me an hour of their salary in order to get information about,
what?
yes, because
the
it's an
front
hour.
door.
Yeah.
I would ask for an opinion on that. But
Oh,
but
you
you
know I'm
but,
hitting up the
but
ombudsman.
oh, but same with me. I asked for
I'm gonna pay for
the
it anyway.
name. I
Get
asked
ready.
for I asked for the name, the name of the company, the address. I didn't even ask for the phone number, just the name of the company, the address, and the total amount of monies paid for printing vendors from 2022 to 2025. Just what, three years? That's all I asked for. Now, I was presented with a bill for 750 something dollars for that one request. Now, you're going to tell me that our system, our government has
I told
such a
Kim,
flawed um, database that they can't go to their vendor database and they can't put Donna, go on mute. They can't go on their vendor database and do a query that says name, address, amount. You can't query three fields from your database. And you're going to tell me, and this is public information, I have not asked for any private information from these companies. It is the same information other than that contract amount, which should be public to us because there are tax dollars. You're going to tell me that you have to have an attorney do some redaction or what? It
They
made
say
no
just in
sense.
case.
Like I told them, you know what? I have done discovery requests for large law firms, and it did not. And sometimes I'm talking about in the days when we were fumbling through papers and boxes, and it didn't take
Hmm.
me 2 or 3 hours to get what was needed and Xerox or scan. It didn't even take that. So I don't want to hear this. Y'all play that tune with someone else.
Oh,
It
let me show
does
you.
not work.
Let me
We
show
need to
you.
ask them. We need to go to one of their community conversations, or maybe when they're campaigning, and ask them what is the procedure for um, quantifying information that is so expensive. Like, what are
Well,
y'all doing it
Well,
by
they
hand?
charge it by the hourly.
they
They
per page or
no, no,
uh,
no,
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 no.
no.
You
They
pay
say
per
per hour.
hour.
It's
Yeah,
by
it's per
hour.
hour by the salary of the staff. So you have one, two, three, four, five, six people looking over this document apparently, or these emails that I'm requesting. The council member for District 7 is getting paid a pay rate of $73.41 for the hour, and the council member from District 8 is 69.92 per hour.
So
Why?
And
why do
What
so
do
they
they
have
do?
to? Why are they involved in
But
it?
Right.
exactly, because doesn't the law say that they're supposed to have a basically their gatekeeper of the records? So
Absolutely.
why is it going back to the person?
I guess, they're paying for
So
a
they
time
can
an hour to
redact
look
what they
for it
don't
too.
want out there.
Exactly.
That's that's
So
the
you don't tell their
opposite.
oops.
Yep. That's why they got David Murray as the acting CAO. See, that's why they couldn't have Bobby Williams anymore because Bobby didn't interfere. He wasn't gonna have council members going over reports that are
Well,
Yeah.
public information.
And
Key
well,
so
words.
look,
what
well, look.
happens is usually that you can, depending on what the case is, especially for when it's like public consumption as what we do, they waive it. And let me just go ahead and say that I do appreciate a lot of the county agencies because I request tons and tons and tons of information. When I tell you I send out MPI requests like, it's M&Ms, or something, but um and they give it to me. But the council is really holding on to this information. They don't want us to
Mm-hmm.
have it. They
They don't
don't
want us
want
to
us to know
have
what's
it.
going on with what they're doing with our money, with your
Money.
tax dollars that you work
Right.
hard on.
Well,
And
you know
while this
what?
may seem like peanuts to you all, again, we just talked about how much is the school deficit?
100, just now it's going to be around $250 million.
$250 million. We have 1.5 billion in retail leakage that leaves outside of Prince George's County that goes to other counties to fund their schools, their infrastructure, and their social services. Then we have what's going on at the council when they are giving, they're rescinding grants, giving it to their friends for a couple of $1 million. She ain't nothing wrong with a few million, to toss off to your nonprofit friends. And then you turn around and then you ask the taxpayers for an increase or take it from parking planning because you have to recoup funds in
Right.
order to pay for your mess ups. And as the councilman said, he loves parking planning budget because they gonna take it all.
And we don't have a county auditor. Audits and investigation is
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
without a leader or a deputy. I
Yep.
was told that the deputy auditor was never filled after that person left with Angela.
Let me do you
mm,
one better. So they just had the charter review conversation, right?
Yeah.
Whoever that auditor was said, I ain't gonna bore you with all the little details. It's fine. I could just say that it's all good in the hood. We don't need to have no rules change. We don't need to update nothing in the charter
Wow.
or anything of that sort. And I thought that was curious because again, I read the audits late at night. And I have paid attention to a lot of the recommendations that they have been saying that we needed to do to improve what's going on in this county. I also look at the procurement section within the charter, subtitle 10A, and I've seen some blaring concerns there. So to say that it's all good, that
Who said
concerns me as
that,
well,
well.
Sherman? The chair of the charter review?
No. Each agency or entity had came in and they were talking about exactly what needs to be improved with their part of the charter. So it's executive branch and stuff like that. But audits and investigations, whoever's in charge of that, let me see if I can find. I might be able to pull that up. But
wow. So everyone's just complicit. Oh man.
And
yeah,
that's
yeah.
not even a director unless they name
See,
the director since
y'all
I
can
had the
see
conversation.
y'all see how this is getting. Y'all gotta, I'm sorry, we gotta cut it off at the head, which means these people gotta be voted out.
Hey,
And
Anthony Brown, what you doing about Prince George's County's criminal activity? You all
honey,
here doing stuff for everybody else. Sherman, why my picture not coming up?
look, that
What do you mean? Why
we
your
see
picture
it.
not coming up?
We see it.
Y'all see me?
Yeah.
Everybody see you.
That office is too
Oh.
busy trying to stop our when we're not getting the right MPIA request, they're too busy trying to stop the
Hmm.
work with the ombudsman to make these agencies adhere to do. And oh gosh, this is what they do, y'all. When you do the MPAI request, they're going to do one or two things. Either they're going to stall, either they're going to and not give it to you, and they're going to wait until there's if you have to appeal because they didn't do it and you got to go
Well,
to the ombudsman, they try to wait out your appeal time.
well,
And
I just told you not only that, but they took 30 days to tell me an estimate. They haven't even begun the work.
oh gosh, and you know that that's wrong.
I
And then when you
requested, I want to know that. I was like, hey, did you already start? Was this work done? They were like, no, that was just an estimate. It's to be completed. And I'm thinking, it took 30
yeah,
days for you to tell me this?
they
Well, that's like I
play
asked for the
serious
voting record.
games.
I asked for the voting record on all things related to the local impact fund from its conception
Hmm.
or inception to the present day.
Girl,
And
that's $5,000.
they was like, oh, you got to fill out an MPI request. Then why isn't that just a regular report? Why isn't
You know
it
why?
sitting someplace?
You know why? Because they put it in the general fund, and
No,
they've
I
been
don't care about the money. I'm
mischanging it.
talking about the policy changes. I
Mhm.
wanted the
Okay.
votes and the policy changes. In the state, you can access online the votes of your legislators. The council doesn't keep track of their votes like that. And if you try to Google search on the website for
Well, they used to.
bills, you can't get it.
They used to, because when I first started tracking that, and after I moved back to Prince George's County, I used to be able to see the votes, but they all that stuff has been buried.
Yeah, they don't.
You
No,
used to
no,
be.
they don't even have them in a record, a public record space. Now, whether or not they have it internally, I can't say. I
Mhm.
was told by people that work in the council they've never seen a report on the votes or anything like that. So I believe it went the
Now, I
wayside
used to see, no, because
just
I used to see where the votes were.
all
It was,
together, vote after vote, or just when the vote happened.
oh, just when the vote happens.
No,
Yeah.
I'm talking about their record of voting. And so, just like we used to be able to see who was making how much money, you can't see that
You can't
anymore.
see that anymore.
They hid that
Mm-mm.
away because all their friends, and this was not this administration, it wasn't the
Right.
previous or the previous. This happened somewhere during, I think, Jack's administration. They started hiding who was making how much money for what position. And
Oh,
we
it was
know
there
why that
after.
was.
I know I've seen it even after Jack administration.
With names or positions.
Oh, it might have been positions. I'm
Yeah,
Well,
sorry.
and you know
Yeah.
what? And getting back to the school budget, you used to be able to see that with the school budget. You remember, Donna, you remember, well, Donna's not on yet. Derek, you may remember when the school budget was about 600 or 700 pages. I used to print it out. I used to
Mhm.
print out the budget and I would highlight the positions. And I remember one year to the point I was able to read through all the positions and I highlighted where you could see that all they did was copy and paste, and just changed a few adjectives here and there, or I shouldn't say adjectives, change just a few adjectives that they've changed. And you're just like, wait a minute, this is the same job description. Donna, remember we did that
Yep.
that
We
year?
used to go
We
through it page by
They were
page by
shocked.
page.
We were like, all you did was change this one word here, this one word there, and they were shocked. And next thing, now you don't get the budget. You used to be able to see the budget so that you saw each department and the
Yep.
entire amount of money that was allocated to that office and then to each position so that you can tell how our money was really being spent.
I
that
You
sounds
Now,
actually
if you
like
can't do
took
that
during
anymore.
one of those times, I took the position, put it in the spreadsheet, put the new position there and the salary, put the new to be able to show them this is how much more you're spending with no changes
Mm-hmm.
in the
And you can bet they're not going to give it to us now with AI because they know we could drop that thing in LL notebook
eh,
and,
eh,
and we'll have it evaluated like that.
so, let me go ahead
that
and play this
sounds like
video. One moment, please.
Shayla Adam. Wait a
And
minute,
now
that
we
sounds
will
like
hear from
Shayla
Lori
Adam
White
Stafford's legal
from our
fees.
audits and investigations office.
Can't hear it. Oh, okay.
How are you? Hit the mic for me, sir.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It's a
How you
pleasure to
doing?
be here.
Thank you.
We have slides that talk about the history of the office, our roles and responsibilities, but I'm not going to bore you with all that minutia. I'm just going to tell you about some of the powers that was bestowed upon our office from the charter and some of the requirements that we have to do per the charter. And the specific section of the charter that governs our office is Article 3, Section 313. And some of the powers that are granted to us from that section is we have the power to review records of any entity that receives county funding and requests, or if their requests are denied, we have the right to subpoena those records from those individuals. So we also have the power to conduct investigations of fraud, waste, and abuse against any county officials, being the county executive or county council. And anyone that participates or help out during the investigation are given whistleblower protection, so they cannot be retaliated against. And any investigation that we conduct, we have the charter requires us to inform the county council and the county executive of all our results of any investigations. So some of the powers that were bestowed upon our office, and I'm just going to go over some of the requirements that we have to do per the charter. We're required to complete a financial statement audit of the county's financial records by December 31st of each year. Our office don't actually complete that audit. We work with the outside audit firm. We do an RFP to help facilitate selection of a firm that does that audit. So our office is integral in that process. Also, we conduct audits of agencies that receive county funding. We use a risk-based approach to determine which audits to conduct. So we conduct audits of county agencies. And we also conduct exit audits when certain individuals leave office. We make sure that their leave was calculated correctly and look at some certain transactions that were executed by those individuals. Make sure that county funds were utilized for the correct purpose. And we also are here to serve at the request of county council if they have any financial or internal control related issues that they want us to look at. We're here to serve at their request. So those are some of the requirements that we have per the charter. At this point, we don't have any recommendations for any charter amendments.
Thank you, sir.
I have a question. Now, how are you going to say you're not going to get
Includes
into
your
the minutia of what
presentations. I
y'all
think you've
purpose
heard from
is?
the majority of the agencies, or
How do you say I'm not gonna get y'all into the minutia of our purpose? How's that minutia?
I guess because they already know what they do. Apparently, I'm assuming that's what it is.
But you're not just talking to them.
Right.
There's people there.
The public doesn't know. And first of all, it's
And
bestowed,
I
not
guess you won't know.
besown. Jesus, help me, Father. And why is Arthur Horn sitting there? I guess he got a contract with the county
Well,
government too.
he does. He does with the. Remember, he has. They do all the land use, I thought, or land contracts. But yeah, remember, because when they went for the contract for the school board, remember Edward Burroughs was against it because he thought it was a conflict of interest because they worked with the council.
I think it's a conflict of interest too. I can't believe we can't find some other attorneys to handle our affairs. What it looks to me like is you playing checkers and you trying to make sure don't nobody be crown king. So you got to keep moving the black and the red, and the black and the red. I'm playing myself on the checkerboard. That's what that looks like. I mean, come on, y'all. Whew.
Okay, so audits and investigation with all this stuff going on, they're not asking for any additional authority. They don't think that there's authority they
Mm-hmm.
need or nothing with
Right.
all this corruption going on, and they're
Right.
just like, "Hey, we good?"
Did the
And
charter
knowing that,
review? Did the committee talk about reports that they've received, like anything from the ethics office, or to determine that we don't need no charter? First of all, we need to change the members of the charter commission.
Yeah.
That's the first thing we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then secondly, you're not going to tell me that there aren't any things that need to be changed.
well, namely, if you listen to what he said, we are responsible to whom? the
Right,
county
To
to
the
the
county
council.
county
We
council.
send the
executive.
county council, and that's what I asked, the former auditor. I said, okay, so when I request, stuff, and can clear up a little bit. I was like, well, so you have to send it to them first in order for them to take a peek at what they've been doing wrong. And she was like, pretty much, there's other agencies, that the people that they reach out to when, we have to skip over the council because the investigation may be about them or, another agency that's close to that. But the truth of the matter is they are responsive to the council. The council funds them and the council also receives the reports from them. In order to, they're, I don't know for sure, but the possibility of an audit or an investigation not reaching the website to be public facing, it's there, because for the simple fact of it has to go to them before they can even let us know if it's copacetic to be released, essentially,
This
or
is
if they yeah.
ridiculous.
So, and I may not be explaining that to the T, but that is part of it. Those it goes to the council first and they get notified of it, before it becomes public, if it becomes public. And because there's some verbiage on it too, but I'm not looking at it right now. But that's a problem. And that's something they should have been saying at the charter. Hey, we need to be able to have subpoena power. We need to be able to have,
Right.
this investigatory power, whatever it is that they need to be able to do their job. But apparently it's all good in the hood, baby.
But that's the
Ugh.
same challenge that Todd Turner has at the Office of Ethics. He's
I
got
wish I
to,
had my yellow bonnet on.
you can put, you can put, he can have 10 complaints, right? That are all about the same thing. He does his background work, figures out if it has any teeth. Okay, I can see where some I's weren't dotted and some T's weren't crossed, and I think we need to address it. I.e., let's look at the Ingrid Watson residency case. It was very blatant that she didn't
Uh-huh.
wasn't living in that
Well,
apartment.
but you know what? And that's
But all he could do was send it to the council and let the council address it. So what do? They go behind closed doors. They tell her, look, this is embarrassing enough. We need to. So what we're gonna do is let you sit here for a minute because you know you was wrong, but we don't want to support you because you're a liability now. And so, what we're gonna do is you can resign and we'll find you another spot. Oh, and by the way, we're gonna make sure that Tim Adams gets the seat and we all happy, right? We good.
wow.
We
So
good.
you police yourself. You police the corrupt police themselves. This is
But here's
crazy.
the other part of this that I want to address. How is it that a council member is considered a personnel matter? That they consider that a personnel matter. They weren't hired internally by the government.
Right, they're
They were
elected.
hired by the people. They are public servants. So none of that situation should be confidential. We should have notes of what was discussed and what decisions were made. That way, what? It keeps them from bartering on
But
company
they do that
time.
with the school board too. They do the exact same thing. They treat the corruption of them as if they are employees, and they are
Yeah.
not.
And you're only an employee for fiscal reasons, as named as a city or state employee, so that they can classify it and pay you. But otherwise, you are an elected official.
You're an
Exactly.
elected official.
There's exceptions to
Well, but
everything.
your thing isn't even a salary, it's a stipend. So it's not like it's a salary on the school board. So why they get to have the protections of employees when they're supposed to be accountable to the people because they are elected by the people, it
Yeah, we
makes no
need
sense.
somebody to explain that to us. Some of
Nick
our
Charles, Nick Charles, okay. Let's get talk to some of these senators. Y'all need to make some changes.
yeah, it's an election year. They ain't doing nothing. They
Yeah,
ain't
y'all
doing
need to make some
anything.
changes because some of the stuff makes no. The laws are basically put out. There's too many laws out here that have no teeth for accountability,
Mhm.
and all it does is feeds corruption because you keep sending any reports, just like the ethic panel for the board. They have to when they do their investigations. That's why we had such that big mess when we had the block investigate it honestly, and then they took the report and twisted it to try to say they were being attacked. So the very people that you have to investigate gets to vote
Yep.
on the investigation to say if it becomes public about
Yep.
their wrongdoings.
Yep.
Crazy.
That's why we need Anthony Brown to come and ask for a query. He needs to do something legally to say something. Otherwise, why are we voting for you again?
Right.
Why we voting for you? And I don't even know if I voted for him the last time, but why we voting for you again? I ain't even seen him in the county. Like maybe he had like a community conversation or something like that. But we got some serious issues, and I've made a request to talk to him through somebody, and that didn't come through yet. So if I run into you, Mr. Brown.
And if he's not doing it, the state prosecutor, we're tired of sending things into your dark hole. They go into the black hole of the state prosecutor and it never finds its way out. It's like the Bermuda Triangle. All this corruption sitting up in there.
Yep.
Never comes out. But, okay, what's more? I think that's in your ball court. The state prosecutor needs to. I can't even believe.
Yeah, that was a comment in the chat actually, and someone said maybe more. You were talking about earlier. It said maybe Governor Moore think he's allowing Prince George just to handle our own business, and I'm like, no. We've sent correspondences to him that his agencies are supposed to respond to and do what it do. However, again, and then someone else in the comments said that it is willful blindness. And that's it. It's willful blindness and cognizant dissonance.
100%.
And these people are just saying, hey, I'm a roll with.
What's the comptroller's authority when it comes?
The comptroller can do any investigation upon request.
Right. We need Brooke Lehrman. Come on, Brooke. Get these votes next go round.
Now you sound like
Come on, girl. Rescue us.
So all of y'all that hit our page who say you're tired, write the comptroller, because the comptroller has the authority to launch an investigation upon request. And you can now start asking her to start looking into all the crab feast, you know what? Because I know it's almost 8 o'clock. Before we get too far off, when we talked about the programming, and a lot of people understand, we are not against good, solid programming. What we are against are county council members violating their role. Because if you are creating the program and then funding it, where's the oversight?
These are programs that are already out there that they're just co-opting.
Well, regardless, if they're sponsoring, co-opting, whatever, they are bringing the program to the public because they announce it as their programs in their districts. But then you're putting the funding to it, and I don't even want to hear all this. Don't even put any post in there. Well, how do you know how much is being funded by the council? I don't care. The bottom line is this. There are agencies that we have under the executive branch that are supposed to be providing these services. If the executive branch is not providing it, you don't resolve the issue by saying, well, we'll create our own. That is not resolving it.
That's where your oversight comes in.
That's where your oversight comes in. You bring that county executive up and you ask why your agents or the agency
department
person,
head,
and you ask why isn't your agency doing this? We cannot afford all of this double billing that is happening in the county. And then you're bringing in people. How do we know how these people are being screened? You are asking for things to be done with children. And if the county council members are endorsing it, then what type of liabilities does that create for the citizens if something happens to that child?
The nonprofits that we're talking about, the District 7 child care, early
well, that's just one of them.
Thing. The partners, the nonprofit partners, are newbies. One of them, she is her former colleague from the Changemakers group, and they just got a new name so that they could fund that organization. Then they're hiring people to answer senior calls to direct them on the website. Well, what's 311 for? What's the Office on Aging for? If
Right.
the website is that difficult, then we need to create some other avenues by which the public can access information. So now you operate in a call center through another organization, through the community on the front line, which does not have its own standing. So they are funneled, I'm sorry, they are fiscally sponsored by a organization that's based in California, not a Maryland business, not a Prince George's County business, but a California business is getting money, and then they are distributing that money back to community on front line. So community front line they got a whole lot of money to hire all these people. And then you got the child care center that's working with her is newly opening. Now, the person that they say is the founder has been doing these services for since 2009. But if you read her website, everything is coming soon, and this is what we do. There's no address. It just says that the center is located in Seat Pleasant. But for some reason, the ribbon cutting was at the library. And so I'm just a little concerned with that. And then also, we have to wonder, like, why is it that the county executive is not spearheading these things? Because if you're doing it based on data, where's the data?
Well,
Show us the
but
data.
even more with Levon, because the age group is one, and I don't know why it's 5, because 5-year-olds should be in kindergarten, but it's 1 through 5. There are already programs funded by the state that has guidelines for making sure that kids get the early start they need from, and that goes from 0 to 4, because 5-year-olds, they should be in kindergarten at that point. So a there's already programming and funding coming down from the state that comes down to counties that these programs fall under. So
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense to me that a county council person would partner with anybody to do this when
Well,
the services are already out there and our taxes are already paying for this.
but now,
It,
what I will tell you is when my son was having language regression, he did not qualify for any of the state or county services. So my doctor recommended him for things, but because he had met his milestones up to a certain point, he didn't qualify. So I don't know if they're trying to capture a certain segment of the population
no,
because,
this is 0, this is 1 through 5. This is
right,
for kids 1 through 5.
but what I'm saying is my son was 3 years old and he was
Mhm.
having language digression, and he could not be a part of any of those
But
programs.
Levon, this program wasn't in place then.
No, no, wait a minute. Hear what I'm saying. If they are doing a program that is open to all, which is how they expressed it, right? Then I'm going to give them I'm going to say this right here. Every participant in this program may not be qualified to go through state services, right? So for discussion purposes, if that's the case,
No, no,
why
but
can't they present us with some data that shows why they're implementing this program? And then the second concern I have is why isn't social services, family services, and the health department leading this initiative
but
instead of
Levon, this
her?
is right. I think you're. It's just that any daycare, there are certain guidelines that daycare providers, anyone who's saying that they are doing educational services for kids, early childhood, all of that. There's a framework set up by the state that allows for the funding. It sets I think it sets like a cap on what can be charged based on kids' eligibility coming out of poverty, but it puts all of this in place. So my thing is, it's not a state program that you have to be eligible for. This is if I want a daycare, if I want an early childhood center, there are things that I must qualify for at the state level or requirements I must meet at the state level to ensure that this program that I put in place has the safeguards around it that needs to be so that kids are protected, that liability is considered, risk is considered, all of that stuff is put in place. I have to make sure that I'm going to have proper screening for kids. I'm going to make sure proper screening for employees. I'm going to make sure that I have safety things put in place so kids at a certain
Well, they
age
said,
are
how
not
do you know
harmed.
they didn't already have proper planning and screening and all that stuff? They said you just jump right in and just started making
First of all, I
accusing
asked,
folk.
first of all, well, no, no, I didn't. First of all, I asked questions. But the thing is, the point is, these services are already available to daycares, to early childhood places. There's no reason why a council person should be bringing groups together and saying, I want you to hear my new program for my district. There
Right.
is no reason for that.
We agree on
This is
that.
where people get it mixed up. They get so emotional and saying you're attacking me, and they don't listen. What we are saying, our tax dollars are already spent to provide these services. So it doesn't need to be something separate that a county council person does just for their district.
So, and what
Yeah.
I'm saying is, I agree with you. I think that it's if there is a void in the number of daycare served, because my child care did not have that kind of intervention services, right? So
Mhm.
if we have a shortage of child care programs that offer this kind of support, then why not say that? Why not say that we are responding to a void in services? Why not have an RFP through the county executive's office, through the health agencies to say we need child care centers to give us an RFP to show us what we're doing, what they
Mhm.
offer, because we have an increase of need. That's all I'm saying. It
But I'm saying
looks
also this, we have to remember, unless something's changed recently, all child care centers, all daycares, all of that now, unless it's changed in the last few years, it comes under the governance of the state. If I want to open up a child care center, there
right,
are requirements. I don't go to my
right,
county for
right,
requirements. I got
right,
to go to my state for requirements
right,
so that there's the proper oversight.
right.
And then I have opportunity for funding. And that's what there is a framework that is set so that one, we're not duplicating services, we're not wasting tax dollars because the services are already there. Now, if
Yeah.
there is something lacking, then sponsor some legislation to take care of that. But you don't go open up your own thing.
Right,
Yeah.
right. We
Well, I
on the
want to talk
same
about
page with that
oversight,
one.
and the council and what they should be doing. And it should look like this because I had a lot of people in the community talk to me about um, the state of our infrastructure and the missing lines in our roads and the sidewalks, especially out there on Coventry Way. So I shut off a email to DPWT to the director, and asked for him and the team to explain to clarify the current operations, the schedule for street sweeping, for leaf removal, and for the roadway. In the county because a lot of people are trying to figure out what's going on with our funds, with our money. I think even we had a conversation about that, Levon, when we were like, well, they used to do, come by and do
Mhm.
the leaf services, but they don't do it anymore.
I remember
People trying
that.
to figure that out. Then they started the street sweeping, but I look at the sign and I never see anybody come out on the day that they're supposed to. So, although I did see one today, so I don't know if it was a county owned or whoever, but it was just driving down Piscataway Road, and I was like, okay, well, are they gonna hit that little spot over there? But
Well, what's his
yeah, I
name?
sent out.
Thompson did a video talking about it was pothole season, and
Yeah,
they
yeah,
was
it
out there
is.
filling a pothole.
Where?
Yeah, that is. But a lot of people are trying to figure out
Bob on
what's
this
going on
side.
with that.
Here.
Yeah. So I shot that off, and I have not received a response yet. That was my prequel to my MPIA request that I'm reluctantly going to have to do. I was trying to save time and all the hassle and just
You're
say,
gonna
hey, can
spend
you
all your
try to?
Christmas money.
I just want answers because I'm curious. this is something that the council should be doing. I should be able to look on the screen and see, okay, well, they're questioning these departments about what's actually going on, the lack of services, but they don't really do that.
Well, when have we seen our council, county council, call in um, agency heads and ask questions like this? When have we last seen that? I mean,
Did they have
it's
the hearing about the snow yet? Because I think that they were supposed to do that. I need to go check the records and see if Wendy
well,
P.
I mean, they were all dancing in the street, so it's kind of hard. It's kind
Hey,
of hard for them to do
listen,
it.
hey, Tanya, oh, Sherman, what you bringing up the word snow? Tanya, didn't you say something about it's supposed to be snow Tuesday and inclement weather next
Yeah,
week? Uh,
Yeah,
possibly.
hopefully that's just a lie.
can we please make a intelligent call based on upon safety
Oh, for
for
schools.
for the community, for the schools, for inclement weather? Please do not tell parents and children you're going to be out or you're going to have a 2 hour delay, and then they make their schedules for that day and they wake up the next morning and school
Hmm.
is on time. That is
Hmm.
because you don't have your supervisors in the street and you don't have your people who are supposed to be making that proper call, doing what they're supposed to do. I've said that 1,000 times over and over and over. Either y'all just don't want to hear it, you just don't know how to go out there and do it. But stop making
It's
these
all
calls.
right. Everything's
Well,
okay.
were they in the street first, Derek, or were they just looking at the forecast and saying, "Hey, maybe we should just close it"?
No, that's what they probably doing now. We were
Hmm.
mandated in the past as supervisors, the assistant directors and directors to be out on our streets at 3 o'clock in the morning,
Ooh.
looking at. Yeah, it's a long day. I get it. It's a long day, but you're more effective in making a call. And sometimes you might miss it because maybe this weather report is calling them for weather at that time. The weather hasn't come yet, but then you make
Hmm.
an educated decision based upon safety. And if you err, we always err on the side of safety. You
Safety.
don't err because you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Oh,
Okay, then.
Lord have
I,
mercy.
Well, that
I,
was a very good chat tonight, guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a shift in the tone, but not
mhm.
in the spirit of uh-oh, what happened to my
Don't have your picture.
I think sometimes when
here
you
it
got
is.
love for something, Levon, that you're very passionate, and when you come across uh, sometimes it might rub somebody wrong, but they look past our intonation, look past our delivery sometimes and see the passion. We have a passion for this county that we live in,
Just
and
read
we
the
we we're
facts.
not doing well, y'all. We have leaders who are not doing well, and those of you that work in the county council and that work in some of these organizations that are scared to speak up, it's never going to change if we don't speak up. You can't lose your job. Well, yes, you can. Me and Donna know that, but you shouldn't lose your job
Right.
for speaking up with integrity
Don't be
about
afraid.
how systems are supposed to work. I was not afraid. Donna was not afraid, and they fired us, wrongfully terminated us, and made up lies about us. But you know what? I still feel good. I can go to sleep at night and I can look my creator in the face to know that I called out corruption. So we got to do that, y'all. Don't be afraid, man. Or this thing is going to continue to get worse.
Or don't be blackballed. You shouldn't be blackballed because you perform in the
Exactly.
work that you were hired to do.
Exactly.
And for those who like to be anonymous, I see y'all. You keep talking about me. I see you. I see you. When I see you, I'm gonna let you know that I saw you. And for those who don't want to
Boy,
take those who don't want to take pictures with me, that's okay too. I love y'all too. But anyway, I'm
like the old hymn used to say, "Should earth against my soul engage and fiery darts be hurled, and I can smile at Satan's rage and face a frowning world."
Right.
woo, you go
All
ahead, poet
right.
with a don't you well, I don't know how I end the rhyme. Okay, y'all, I'm gonna change the
Okay.
tempo here for a moment. Um, we lost someone who I personally adored, loved, respected, appreciated, on February the 28th, Lady Nakia Renee Wright. She is the wife of Bishop Donald Wright of the Gathering of Forestville. She is the mother to two adult children and grandmother to two. She is daughter and sister. And I tell you, because she is. She was amazing. I don't know how she squeezed in all the things that she was responsible for. She was a businesswoman. She had business partners. She's a leader in the ministry circle, the faith circle, wives of pastors, just all the things. Nakia loved Prince George's County. She was raised in Prince George's County, and she was the assistant to Treasurer Derek E. Davis, mentor to many, and just dynamic. And she is going to be so missed. She is already missed. I am not giving my personal tribute to her at this time. I'm still waiting for God to tell me what I can say. But she's well loved, and we are grateful that she came this way. And so please say a word of prayer if that's your walk for her family and all those impacted by her, whose names we may never know and whose stories we will never know. Her reach was beyond measurable and extended far beyond Prince George's County. And so pray for her family, pray for her circle, and remember her if you knew her with loving, love and kindness towards everyone. Take a lesson from Nakia's book that you can't tell me how to love you. Thank y'all.
All right, guys. Well, I wish I had a quick pick me upper, but after you know, for those of you who consistently watch us, we truly appreciate it. For those who are just joining, we thank you as well. For all our viewers on social media, on YouTube, for those who don't know, Facebook removes the lives after 30, 45, 60 days. I can't really remember what it actually is, but you can go on YouTube at CAG Chat and you'll be able to find our videos there. We always trying to leave some insightful words, try to encourage you and stir you up and rile you up. We know this work takes a lot. As we do it all the time, we know it could take a toll on your health as well. But you have to stand up, and it's Women's History Month, and my favorite, as I always say, is Fannie Lou Hamer, and she said, you have to stand up for your constitutional rights. Stand up for yourself, stand up and count for yourself. So that's what the message that I want to leave for you all. Yeah, it may be tiresome, you may get weary, because I know I do. Especially the vitamin D deficiency, be wearing my behind out. I need to get out. They say I'd get outside, so I'm gonna start taking all my paperwork and doing a little picnic outside on a pallet or something. But um just agitate. You have to persist, and we have to do better in Prince George's County, because Hardy does have a heart for Prince George's, and we all do on this chat, and we all do,
Yes.
and that's why we, like Derek was saying, that's why we all feel so passionate about it, because we want the best for our community. It's just, how do we get there?
Right.
So again, thank you all. This is CAG Chat, and have a wonderful night.